care about our kids like you do because not just the future of the country, but they're the most important people in our families, right? Because they are the ones that will carry on all of the different traditions that we have. And I've got 2 little kids in primary school. You've got kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, all of it, right? We care about our kids. And a theme that I constantly come back to on this program is the kids are not all right. And no, just a swift kick in the bum and a couple of days off the video games or a spoonful of concrete and they'll harden up. It's not going to fix things. A lot of complicated reasons, but every now and then a little flare goes up about just how bad kids are doing it. Yesterday I told you the report that came out of the Kids Helpline. This is a really special service and I want you to memorise the number, 1800 55 1800. 1800 55 1800. kidshelpline.com.au if you prefer to do things digitally or text. Tracy Adams is the CEO of Yourtown. They're the people who run this incredible service and we absolutely love what they do. Tracy, nice to see you. I'm sorry that the numbers are going up. It's a sign that our kids are not all right, and it's something that always moves me every time. And these numbers are now even higher than we were in and around the pandemic. 74,660 counselling sessions or interactions. That's 200 kids a day.
Well, that's right. I think we are concerned about the rising number of serious concerns that young people are contacting us about. But we should also be very proud of young people recognising where to go for help and reaching out for help, because that avoids some very serious crisis situations.
I also like that in a time of darkness, they're going to head your way, and that's why I want that number just drilled in, right? Like, my kids are aware of it, right? I don't know if they've ever called it or whatever. It's their business if they wish to, right? But you've got to have something and someone outside of the family, outside of the friends, who you may be able to offload with, who might be able to turn you away from the worst possible moments. Because as we saw in the report, 39% of the reasons for calling was because they'd attempted suicide or some very close to it, 30% child abuse and problems when it comes to their mental health. Give me an idea about the intensity of the interactions, about how serious the interactions are.
Well, those numbers that you just shared reflect when our counsellors have to decide that a young person is at imminent harm. So we have about 89 of those crisis interventions every week. So their number one priority is right in that moment, let's keep this young person as safe as we can possibly make them, while another part of our team will help get in contact with police, ambulance or child protection services. But in every interaction, the child is our number one priority. And those young children, they're presenting at that time at high risk of very serious harm to themselves.
If somebody donates to you, they can either do it through their business or obviously through their own pocket. What happens with that money and how does it help the kids?
Well, our number one resource is our counsellors. They're paid professionals, tertiary qualified. The great thing about that is that young people can come back to the same counsellor each time. I think one of the things about Kids Helpline that's special is that it's free. It's equitable to everyone. And there shouldn't be any family that worries about can they afford for their child to get the right support when they need it. 75% of all the contacts to Kids Helpline come outside normal business hours. So we have to have a safety net there when no one else is.
I'm political, you're not. You need all sides of politics to help your organisation out. I want to make that very, very clear. But do we have to have more of a chat at a time of hyper-focus when our vote matters about our kids, about those mental health support systems?
Well, I think we don't have to be political to know that we need investment into our young people. We need to be listening to them. We need to be caring about what those needs are. We need to be making sure that the investment's going into the places that can make a difference. And that means different things at different times. We need investment into acute mental health need. We need an investment into education. We need investment into helping our families, our parents, know how to deal with some of the complex issues that children present with. And I don't think that's political. I actually think that's what we all need to be thinking about, where that investment needs to go.
I don't know if you've had the chance to see that show on Netflix, Adolescence, right? It's a hardcore 4 hours of a look about a kid who commits murder. It's not a, what do they say? It's not a who done it, it's a why they did it. And I've had a lot of chats with people that I wouldn't normally talk to people about all sorts of pressures that exist, from social media to school bullying to all sorts of stuff that's around. How important is it that when the culture turns to things like that, that it means some people might be having their first conversation in a long time about what's really going on with kids?
Well, shows like that are certainly doing a job about elevating some of the serious issues that are happening. And I think as parents often say to us, we actually don't know how to have these conversations, we're worried about them. Young people tell us that they simply don't know who to talk to, and they worry about putting burden onto their parents because their parents have already got a lot of things to be worried about. But we are seeing cultural change. We are seeing young people be made to be aware of behaviours that we wouldn't normally want to be tolerating, we wouldn't want to be seeing in young people. They're learning things online that aren't healthy, that aren't good for them, and then they're using those behaviours against others. But as adults, we've got a lot to think about in our own behaviours as well, and I think that's the whole element here, especially around things like bullying, where we get a lot of presentations. Young people don't know how to find a way out. But as adults, what are we teaching people about the behaviours that we want our children to have? And that's something that we should all be reflecting on.
Yeah, bloody oath. If you think that blowing up at each other isn't going to rub off on the kids, then you're not really paying attention. Tracy, thank you so much. Again, you can donate to this phenomenal service. But more importantly, I want you to have the telephone number written down, 1800 555 1800, kidshelpline.com.au. Just leave it around, write on a post-it note, leave it on a door. Why not, okay? But if you want to donate, and if you can, it is tax deductible. Good to see. kidshelpline.com.au. Thank you, Tracy. We'll see you again into the future.